Welcome to Bill's Bridge Corner, Thursday, October 31st, 2013. Class number 8, Raising Partners Major, Part 1, and Hand Evaluation, Part 2. Yesterday we covered the opening bid. Today we're going to cover what happens when your partner opens one of a major and the next hand passes. Here we go. Hand evaluation for raising partner. This applies to both major suits and minor suits, but for today we're just going to talk about major suits. Judging the trick-taking power of a hand when you have a fit, which means 8 cards in the combined hands in the suit, which would be a major at this point, is the nuts and bolts of bridge. If you have a fit and 3 cards is enough for major because your partner has promised 5, most people that you speak will give the following as dummy points. Start with starting points and then add 1 point for a doubleton, 3 points for a singleton, 5 points for a void. There are some variations, but that is the basic standard American approach. I would prefer Marty Bergen's approach, which is a little bit different. He is a multiple-time American champion, and here is his recommendation. 1 point for a doubleton, that's the same. 2 points for a singleton if you have 3 trump, but 3 points if you have 4 or more trump. And if you have a void, add 1 point for each trump that you possess. The difference is a little more conservative for counting distribution of short points, but on the other hand, Bergen is more aggressive with regards to counting long suits, and that effect, in my opinion, is more exact. Also, subtract 1 point if you have 4-3-3-3 distribution with only 3 trump. Concept, what are you going to trump? You don't have a short suit, so what good is 3 trump? There's nothing to trump. There are other hand evaluations out there as well, but I'm going to stick with Marty's. The mantra to remember is support with support. This applies to both major suits and minor suits, but especially to major suits. Assume that partner has 13 starting points, and using your dummy points, add that to 13 and find out where you might be with regards to game or slam. Remember the key break points. Game in 3 no trump or 4 of a major is 26. Minor is 29, a small slam is 33, and a grand slam is 37. If it adds up to 26, you have enough for game. And of course, partner may have more than the minimum 13. That's where you start. You must support partner's major suit when you have support. If you have 4 card support, you must immediately raise, and there are a variety of ways you can raise. If you only have 3 card support, you may choose to temporize, but you have to raise by the second round. That is a rule you need to memorize. Raises and the law. I have a disclaimer here. I agree, I believe in Bergen raises. They're included in my schedule of raises. I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't use Bergen raises, so I have covered the so-called standard responses were different with an asterisk, and I have 2 different columns separating the Bergen raises from the non-Bergen raises. Shouldn't cause you confusion, but personally I prefer Bergen raises because they work. Bergen raises is based on the law of total tricks. If you believe in this strategy, and we're going to cover it in a while, you'll appreciate the value of Bergen raises. In simple terms, the law says you are safe in bidding the number of trumps you and partner hold. We'll get into this in more detail later. But the law has already been covered on my blogs of December 25th, December 26th, and also March 12th of 2013. We're going to cover it again in this class a little further down the line, but that's what Bergen raises are based upon. Alerts and announcements. The rules of duplicate bridge say that any bid that is not natural, which means what it sounds like is what it means. and has some special partnership understanding that might be unknown must be announced in the form of an alert. Generally accepted or common conventions that have ranges or treatments must be announced as opposed to alerted. On the ACVL convention card, which we'll be covering over various parts of these classes, alerts are shown in red. Items requiring announcements are shown in blue. Here is an ACVL convention card. We're going to cover various parts within this card, which is quite complex, covering all the conventions, both the playing conventions and the bidding conventions. But we need to point out a couple of special things here: the major suit opening and a general approach, which we'll be covering starting today. And we'll get back to this in a couple more slides. Let's cover the schedule of raises in a major suit. Your partner opens one of a major in first or second seat. In third or fourth seat, there's a little variation, so let's stick with first and second seat. Depending on the number of trump you have, 3, 4, or more than 4, you have a set of standard responses and a set of responses with Bergen raises. For those of you who don't like Bergen raises, stick with the first column. For those of you who like Bergen raises, stick with the second. I prefer the second, but I understand a lot of people are not up to it. Here we go. If you have 3 trump in partner's major and 6 to 9 dummy points, single raise, 1 heart, 2 hearts. You can bid a new suit or 1 no trump and then raise with 10 or 12 points, or bid a new suit and then gain with 13 to 15 points. That is the same whether you have played Bergen raises or not. If you have 4 card support, in the standard system, the single raise also covers 6 to 9 points. The jump raise is 10 to 12 and is invitational. A raise to game is more preemptive in nature. It shows 4 to 9 with a singleton or void. The splinter bid, which is a double jump in a new suit, shows a singleton or void with 4 card support. And the Jacoby 2 no trump convention shows an opening hand with 4 or more card support, which we'll cover in future classes. Now for the Bergen raises over there, it's a little bit different. A jump raise is weak. It's not invitational. It shows 4 to 7 points. Vulnerable, but not vulnerable. You can do it with as few as 2. The bids of 3 clubs and 3 diamonds are alertable, and they are the so-called Bergen raises. 3 clubs does not show clubs. It shows 4 card support in partner's major plus 7 to 10 points. 3 diamonds shows 10 to 12 points with 4 card support. If you raised a game, you have 3 to 10 points and shape, which means extra length or singleton's void. A splinter bid means roughly the same with or without the Bergen raises as does Jacoby no trump. Now if you're lucky enough to have 5 card support, raised a game with a singleton or void and 4 to 9 points is very similar with the Bergen raises. The splinter also works with 13 to 16 points or void, and it's the same with the Bergen raises, and 2 no trump also falls into that range. It's important to note that the splinter bid is very discreet with regards to dummy points. Don't fall out of that range or you will miss slams if you do so. Here is the convention card for the major suit opening. I'd like to point out several things on this convention card. Notice that in third or fourth seat we can open with 4 card support. I like to play it. This is marked with Bergen raises, which is right here. I like to play double raise as weak. After an overcall, it's still weak. With conventional raise, that's Jacoby 2 no trump. 3 no trump is 4-3-3-3 with 3 card support, and the splinter bid, which is alert. The other convention parts of this convention we'll cover in other classes, but that is the critical part of this slide. Tomorrow, we're going to cover what happens after a single raise by partner. It goes 1 heart, pass, 2 hearts, pass. You're back in the declare seat. See you tomorrow.